topic is about shell scripting. So you can say it's Linux scripting. So we'll be using a set of commands to execute as a script. As simple as that. Let's say I have 10 commands to run. Something 10 random commands in Linux. So I can run like this: ls cd touch 123 something or cat 123 something. These are all Linux commands, right? So same commands we will keep in a file. We'll keep in a file and in some format, and we'll execute that file. We'll run that file, running executing both are same. So we'll execute that file. So all those commands, whatever we kept inside the shell, will run. That's what shell scripting is about. Of course, it's a scripting means we use for automation part. So what automation? As I told you, right? 10 commands. I don't want to run. So I'll keep them in a file and execute it. So it's automated now because I don't need to execute 10 times. I just need to execute the script one time. That file, we call it script. So it will execute all the 10 commands, whatever the commands inside it. So it will execute them. So here in shell we can use the programming advantages. So in programming languages, any programming language you take it. So there will be a core part like variables, data types, variables or data types or loops, conditions, these functions, these kind of things. So all these are also available in shell scripting. We'll see this is very simple, so it's fine. We'll see that. So today we don't cover the whole shell script. It'll take easily a week, more than a week I would say definitely. But yeah, at least some basics we'll try to cover. So shell scripting, as I told you, we need to create a file and execute that. So don't call it a file, call it a script. So create a file. So what should be the file name? Anything. Setup dot sh. So if you see any file with dot sh, it means it's a shell script, shell file. If you see it's a zip, it's a zip file, right? Or zz, it's a tar file, tar and compressed. If it is dot sh, it is a shell file. I created nothing. Obviously, it's a new file. Now, what has to be there here? Is there any format to follow? There is only one format to follow at the beginning. We need to add what shell we are using. Say, if you remember, we have multiple shells: bin bash, bin sh, zsh, csh, ksh, lots of further. So, what you want to use for your script? So, that you have to give here. The shell you have to give here. So, we call this shebang line. Shebang line. Shebang line. General interval asks what is shebang line. It's simple. We are giving what shell we want to use in this script, or in other words, we call it interpreter, because you are running a command in command line, right? And you are getting the output. How you are getting? There is a process, as I mentioned earlier. Shell will take the input, whatever you give, it will give to kernel. From there again, it will give back the response to you. So it's acting like interpreter between you and the OS or kernel, whatever it is. So we call it interpreter because it's acting in between. And this shebang line you have to write slash bin slash bash. That's it. Slash bin bash is the shell, obviously. Hash and exclamatory you have to add it. So that the script can use this shell. Shebang line. So obvious, if you add any hash in front of any line, it's commented. So usually we will write comment like this. So because what's this line used for? You can write comments like this. or we can write like this also. Test something whatever random it is. So if it is hash is there in front of a line, it is commented, except in this line obviously. This is shebang line, so we're not commenting it, we're just using it. So shebang line is important in shell. Not just bin bash. If you have bin sh shell, you can use it simply. Which is completely fine. Now we can write commands, n number of commands. There is no limitation. Let's say ls touch. Sorry. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 1 2 something whatever it is. Or we can able to write what else? df minus h free hyphen m. It will execute all these one by one. You can write like this also, multiple commands. Like let's say, what is that? lsb lk du hyphen sh slash root double ampersand symbol you can able to give. It means we're just it is representation of these are two separate commands run one after the other. Same we wrote in a separate lines, right? We can write like this also in a single line with a double ampersand symbol. We're just separating it so that okay, this shell Linux knows that okay, these are two separate commands. That's why he gave double ampersand. So I'll run one by one like this. Like this, you can write n number of commands. Finally, I'll write some print statement. Print statement in Linux use echo. Allow from script something random. So it'll execute all these one by one. ls touch df free lsblk du and echo finally. So what happens is like one by one, line by line it will execute. Got it? Like this you can write n number of commands. There is no limitations like that. See, yeah, this echo as I told you, right? If you want to print something in Linux, echo. There are different things for languages. We don't need all those things. Echo is fine for shell. I saved it. Next, you know what you have to do? You have to run it, right? Before running, you have to make sure the script has executable permissions. See, it does not have executable permissions. Just read, write, read, read. Give the executable permissions. You know why? We are executing the script now. Right? The script should execute. Otherwise, we cannot do anything. So now it has a good execute permission because it's green. See the XXX. For user, read X is there. For system others, it's fine. It's not required because we are executing it. So now how to execute it? There are two ways. So once you save the script, first thing you have to do is give the executable permissions, make to the script. Next, how to run it? There are two ways. One is sh space the path of the file, which is fine. Sh space the script name or path, whatever it is, it will execute for you. Or you can give like this dot slash setup. I mean dot slash the path of shell script. Why? Because we gave executable permission, right? So dot slash will work. If you don't have, if the script does not have executable permission, we cannot execute like this dot slash. We have to use manually sh space and the shell full path. So most people prefer like this one. It's easy. We just give executable permission and write it like that. So either use sh space the shell scripting full path, I mean the file path, or use like this. So enter, that's it. See, it's saying shebang no such file or directory. So there is something wrong in my shebang line because I used comments here. In the shebang line, don't use this one. Just keep the hash exclamatory bin bash. That's it. Save it. Now let's run. See, first it's ls. It's created some 5 1 2 3 4 5. We'll see. Df commands executed. Free command executed. See, memory and all. It won't show you the command, but its output it will show. LSBLK executed, root du minus sh root executed, hello from script, the last thing we did, it's executed. All these things, of course, ls will be touch this file C created. It won't show you the command, it will show you the output, what it done, what it did. See, that's it. That's how you write it. Write some random commands, whatever, I mean, depends on your requirement, I meant to say. And of course, use it like this. That's it. Got it? I mean, just define the shebang line and that's it. And do whatever you want. Let's do all these things. So next there is some topic called variables. We can add comments like these, but not on shebang line. That's why there are earlier. So you can define a variable and you can able to use it. What is variables first? See, let's say I'm writing a script and I'm repeating the values every time. To keep it simple, I'm installing a service. Let's say Apache service. So what is the first thing? apt install Apache 2. That is one command. Next, systemctl start Apache 2. Next, systemctl enable Apache 2. Enable it at the boot time. Next, systemctl status Apache 2. These are all the 4 commands, right? Correct? What I'm saying. See, here Apache 2 is common because that is what we are executing. So that is repeating. Commands are different, but the name is repeating, right? So instead of repeating that every time, what we'll do is we'll just define something called a variable and we'll use that variable every time so that we don't repeat the value. It will be very common in every programming language, these variables. It's very simple. So let's say package name, sorry, Apache 2, sorry. And we'll use this package name wherever it is required in our script so that we don't repeat it. Let's say systemctl, sorry, first apt, right? apt install Apache 2 right now. Instead of giving Apache 2, just give dollar package name like this. So if you want to define a variable, define like this. This is key is equal to the value. Value should be inside the quotes because it is a string. String means which contains the letters. This contain letters, of course numbers also, but yeah, letters majorly. So without quotes it won't take it. If it is a number, just do it without the quotes. Let's say number something, version something 1, you can give like this. But if it is letters, you have to give inside the quotes because we call it a string, which contains alphanumeric numbers. So here what's happening is I'm just defining a variable. This is the key and this is the value. So if we want to use a variable, we refer the key with a dollar like this. Dollar the key name, not the value. What is the point of defining variable if you use value here, dollar value directly? So you have to use dollar key. Got it? Like maybe next thing systemctl start Apache 2, right? Instead of Apache 2, dollar package name, systemctl enable dollar package name, systemctl status dollar package name like this. See, the value is not repeating, correct here, because we defined as a variable and we are referring the variable key. That's so that it will be easy. I mean, like we don't repeat the values. But if you ask me, like, why the hell we need to use a variable at all? Because scripting, any programming language, no one likes to repeat things. That is not a good approach to write a script. Got it? So we do not repeat things. That's why, of course, these commands are different. We have to use it, but the package name is repeating here. Instead of that, we defined a variable, sorry, and we are referring that package name, which is not repeating now. Got it? It's clear now, the variables. We can execute it now. Then, I mean, just same thing. It will run as it is. I mean, it won't change. Do setup dot sh. See, apt install. See, installed. Apache is already installed new version. It started. It won't see. It's enabled and status finally. See, it's running. That's it. Of course, as I told you, it won't show you the command what it ran. It will show you the output. Got it? Is it clear? That's how we define variables. You will define n number of variables. N number of variables. There is nothing. Next one. Next, there is something called positional parameters or command line arguments. So what this is, sorry, we will pass the arguments while executing the script. Currently what we are doing, we're just doing dot slash the script name, it will executing it. And of course we have defined variables like this. But instead of defining a variable, here in the file, we'll pass it along while executing the script. So it means dot slash setup.sh, whatever the file name, space the variable will pass there. Why? Because we don't want to keep anything secret or sensitive information in the script itself. That's why we'll pass like that. How to use it? Simple. Let's take these commands only. Package name, instead of giving directly here, give $1. That's it. Let's try this. Let's try what happens. Setup.sh Apache 2. See, it's taking it and see it's shown it. I mean the output and all same output. So this argument it passed it to the script Apache 2 whatever we gave, and it assigned to a variable and we are using it. So here what's happening is we are not we defined a variable, okay, which is fine, but the value we haven't given here. We told script that hey, I'll pass this value as a parameter while executing the script. So that's what we did. The executing the script space whatever that is, or the name, the package name and all, the value. But here how am I referred it is with the help of $1. $1 means first variable, $2 means second, $3, 4, 5, 6, n number of like that. $0 is a script name. You cannot use $0 here. $0 is always linked to the script name. So leave that. So start from $1. Let's say I want to pass one more variable. What is that? Maybe a version. Let's take version. $2. Something else. Pass anything. $3 next. Let's say name. $3. Like this. You have to pass these then. Name, date, $4. Like this. So now you have to pass 4 parameters, 4 arguments while running the script. Without that it will fail. Let's try. Of course we are defined parameters but we are not using it. But I just want to show you how to pass it. See, scripting, see, I just passed to 1. But I did not pass the remaining things because it ran successfully without passing them also. I haven't used it anywhere, that's why, that's the thing. So now $1 means Apache, right? Because the package name I want to pass. $2 something. Test. $3 something. Blah blah whatever it is. I'm just giving some random values. So 1 2 3 4 parameters. I'm not using it anywhere, so it will be same output. So I pass in like this 1 2 3 4 parameters. So what happens is here I'm passing in order, right? It will assign to that 1 2 3 4. In the if you in the package name, let's say you gave some wrong thing. Let's try. Instead of Apache, give like this. So now this Apache will taken as parameter 1 because you gave $1 there, and this is a $1 value. You have to give $2 value, $3 value, 4 5 6 7 8 9 like this. See, it says Apache no installation. I mean, it means it does not exist. See, whatever you pass here, it'll the first one it'll consider as $1. Second one consider as $2, $3, $4 like that. So make sure you pass the correct ones. Got it? That's about parameters. Got it? Now here we'll add one more thing here. It failed because of the package does not exist, but some wrong thing whatever it is. But I want to show custom message when it failed. Let's say if it is failed, I want to show custom message. At that time I have to use like this. Installation failed. So now if this command fails, it'll print to this one installation failed instead of showing some other error. So this is like I am giving the custom error message to keep it simple. Custom message so that it will show me. See, installation failed. See, so it will show me like that. So that why we need this is, of course it is a small script and you know this command, the error and all, it's fine. But imagine the shell script is huge. You don't know where the error will come. So that's why we'll add like this wherever it's required, so that if it prints, okay, we know that okay, in this line it failed. So we'll check there and we'll go there and we'll check there like that. Got it? That's about passing, error handling. You can pass to any command. It does not matter really, and it will take it. Got it? Next, command line arguments also there. These are all fine. Next, we'll use something. Let's remove all these things. Next will be user input. See, as of now, what I did, I passed the package name as a variable here, which is good, and I passed the package name as a parameter or positional parameters or command line arguments. No, next to the script. That is also good. There is one more way called user input. It will ask you to type it when you execute a script. To type it after you execute the script, not while executing the script. Once you click on dot slash setup and click on enter, it will ask you, hey, you have the user input, type it, otherwise it won't go forward. That's called read input or user input. All you have to do is like this, read -p, sorry, so enter the package name, some random things, package. Now this is the key. It will show you the message, this message, when you execute the script, and this is the key. Use it, apt install $package -y. That's it. Or you can add some echo command also, echo package name is $package. So same thing, it's using as a variable only. So now we haven't passed any value here. We can't even pass as a command line arguments also. Let's see what happens now. See, it is asking you to type it. Enter the package. This is what we gave, right? That message. Package is Apache 2, and it took it and it's installed. Next echo statement, package name is Apache 2. That's what we wrote here. the package name. So this is called user input or read input, which will ask you the input. You have to type it, otherwise it won't go forward. If you do Control C, it will cancel obviously. This also will pass. No need to pass, define anywhere. But within the file also as a variable or next to command line arguments or positional parameters. We don't need any of those. We just simply use it like this. Got it? So as a user input, as a read input. Got it? That's about user input. Next, two common things we have: conditions and loops. I think you might have a little idea about these. What is condition? You pass a condition. If the condition matched, do something. If condition not matched, do something else. I told like, hey, my name is this. If my name is this, just do execute something. Something. Let's say, hey, my name, something like that. If my name is wrong, do something else. Like that, we pass some conditions. Anything we can able to pass. But for some starters, I mean, we'll use this example, some number example. 5 greater than 10. Observe here, if conditions. I'm using if condition. Of course, there is only one condition called if. If 5 is greater than 10, do something else something like that. Well explained, don't worry. Here, this is in this format you have to write. Observe, I wrote square braces before I gave one space, after I gave one space, which is mandatory. And of course, GT means greater than. We have less than, greater than, EQ equal to. That you have to figure it out. I mean, I don't say all these things. So these are operators, right? We call it. So if 5 is greater than 10, then what you have to do? Then you have to print. I want to print something. Echo 5 is bigger. If 5 is greater than 10, you have to print like this. You have to print it. I mean echo. That's what I'm telling. What if 5 is not greater than 10? Then we have to write something called else. Echo 5 is smaller. And finally close the if condition. Like this. So the syntax is if else phi. Of course, then means you have to write that then based on the if condition. Let's say you have multiple else conditions. You have elif, else, like this you can able to write multiple conditions. If you want to pass multiple conditions, you can use elif. First, we'll try that also, don't worry. But let's close this first. So now I wrote a basic thing. What I wrote is, if 5 is greater than 10, the numbers, then do print this. If it is else means, if it is not that, do this. So if 5 is greater than 10, then print this. If it is not greater than 10, of course we did not give that it is not greater than, we gave whatever else is there. It means obviously which is not greater than 10, the opposite of it, right? So if else, 5 is smaller. So now as for our requirement, first it will check this condition. Obviously 5 is less than 10, not greater than 10 obviously. So it will come to else and print this 5 is smaller. Let's execute it. See, 5 is smaller. Because we wrote condition like that. Let's try 50. If 50 is greater than 10, it will print this 5 is bigger. Else 5 is smaller. Now it will print bigger because it's correct, right? See? Cool. Like that we can able to write. Like that you can able to any condition. As I told you, we can have multiple ellipse also like this. Elif, echo, something, some random things, blah blah, whatever it is. It will go through this also. And finally it will go to else. So you can pass multiple conditions. elif we have to pass like this. Elif 10 is, sorry, let's try. Syntax error else. Then let's, I think it is wrong, I guess. Oh yeah, it is fine. See, 5 is bigger. Because why it did not came to else now? Why did not it came to elif? Because this condition is satisfied now. Correct? 50 is greater than 10. This condition is satisfied. So it will stop here. If it is not satisfied only, then it will come to here, below. Got it? If it is not satisfied, let's say maybe 5, keep it 5, just for example. See, of course the command I gave something wrong, but 5 is smaller. See, it came down. Sorry, what the hell? Oh yeah, see, I had to give the space like this. That's why it's failing. Let's try now again. See, 5 is smaller. Why it did not print it random something? Because 10 greater than 10? No. It's the value, whatever you give. The condition is whatever you give the condition. If that is matched, it will do something. If it is not matched, it will do something else. As I told you, if it is matched here itself, it won't come at all here. If it is not matched here, then only it will come to other conditions. Else, elif, like that. If it is matched, it does not really care. Got it? So that's about conditions. You add any condition, of course, remember always give space before and after. Otherwise, it will fail. Let's say we'll just use one more sample if in if condition. I want to check whether the file exists or not. In the Linux, there is sorry. So I want to see if the file exists or not. First, define the file, the path inside the quotes. If obviously those spaces, yeah, there is argument called -f. F means file. It will look for the file. Dollar file. 2 spaces. Okay, 1 space is fine. Then echo file. Sorry, I have to give quotes. I forgot. File is present. If the file does not exist, else echo file is not present. Obviously, phi. Phi here we're closing the if condition. If reverse phi, obviously you see that now. Because it means the if condition is closed here. If you don't give this, it does not know it. It will say syntax error. Got it? Got it, right? That's all. So -f is a shell script syntax. Look for the file. Let's see what will print. Dun, 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 dun. File is present. See, it stopped here if condition. It did not came here. Let's give some wrong thing. Of course, this file does not exist. What it will say? See, file is not present. Like that. So now this condition, it's not satisfied with this condition, right? Because it does not exist. So then it came to else. Like that. Like that. You can able to keep. Got it? That's conditional statements or conditions, which is common in every language. Got it? Now next, we'll cover for loop here. Loops. Loop is the concept of looping through something, looping through some values or some data until you pass some condition. It will be stopped. Let's say I want to print 1 2 3 4 5 something like that. Simple. There are two loops, for loop and while loop. Sorry. Now we'll see for loop. For I in 1 4 5 6. As an example, I'm just giving like this. Do echo dollar I, sorry, dollar I. You know what happens now? Let's see what happens, then I'll explain. So 1 2 3 4 5, it's just printed 1 2 3 4 5 6. You know what happens here is it is looping through each and every value. So what happens, loop means here, as I told you, it will loop through data, whatever, content what you give, whatever the conditions you give, anything. So here what we gave is, this is the for loop syntax. Do done is a syntax which we need to follow. In if condition, what we followed, then else fee we followed, if then else fee, like that. Here for do done, in between you have to write whatever you want. So for I in range 1 2 3 4 5 6 means, here I, there is nothing defining here as an I. You can give any letter here. So what we are doing is we are applying some key to that, key to the leaf, and we are, you are using it. Instead of I, you can just keep J, X, X, Z, whatever it is. But commonly used is I. That's why I just gave like that in every language. So here what happens is, for I in 1 2 3 4 5 6 means, how it works is, for I in, it will take first value, do it will do this one, echo dollar I. That's why one came for us. For I in 2, do echo dollar I. That's why 2 came for us, like one by one. It will take each and every value like this, one by one. For I in 1, do something. For I in 2, do something. For I in 3, do something. For I in 4, do something, like that. Like that, you can able to do for looping. Got it? Like, we are looping through some random things. I mean, anything. We are looping through some data. Let's say it will. Let's say I told for I in file or something. Some, let's say, some random file. It will go through each and every line over there, like that. Loop through file. We are looping through file, and it will print each and every line, like that. So we are looping through our data and printing one by one. Not just printing. I just gave you an example of printing to show you the output. Do anything, your wish. I mean, whatever you want to do. Got it? That's, I mean, I know it will be too much for one day, but just that's why I'm telling you the basics. So that's about looping. It's a small example, I know, but yeah, when you try looping, sorry, for loop with some conditions, random conditions, it'll, it'll be easier. Got it? So next, there is something called functions. What these functions is, see here we're writing something and we're expecting some value, but function means we write in a box. That will simple to keep it simple. See, we have one suitcase. We'll throw all our luggage in one suitcase, right? Obviously, some randomly we throw it. It's fine. What if we organize that? You know, on one side, or pants or shirts one side, accessories one side, something else. It'll look good. I mean, so that we know where it is. We know that, okay, uh, shirts are on the right side or something like that. Like, we are organizing it instead of some throwing randomly. If you, let's say, kept everything some randomly, you have to remove everything out to check it, right? A function is also similar to that. Here what happens is, like, so now, if let's say, I mean, in a words of definition, if you ask me, it's it's a block of code, actually. You know, a function contains a code which performs some task. I'll write a function to create a file. So the function does that. So whenever you call that function, it will create that file. It will do the task. Why we need it? Why we need it? Because we are organizing it. As I told you, we are organizing the code into blocks so that we can able to reuse that. See, suitcase, if I organize it, I took out the shirt and I keep wherever it is. Only if I need, I'll use it. Otherwise, it'll be there. Similarly, function is a block of code which will do some task, whatever the task it is, no matter what. So it will execute only when we call it. Otherwise, it will just be there. And one more thing is, it can be reusable. Let's say one function is there to create a file. I want to create a file, some other file, after some days. The function is there already, which will create a file. So just call the function and pass your values. That's it. It will do it. So you don't need to write one more mkdir touch command like that, right? Because the function does the same thing. Just reuse the function and apply it. That's how we do it. Let's see a simple example. You'll understand it. Sample. The function name is sample. Let's say that this is the function syntax. Sample is the function name. Now write whatever the task you want. Let's say echo something. Hello. $1. I'll pass the argument. Function is done now. Now I have to call the function. Sample $1. I have to pass it, right? Hello, maybe test. Sample. It will print hello test now. Let's see. See. Of course, this is a loop. Sorry, if condition looping. Sorry, let's remove the looping. Why to confuse? See, this is the syntax of a function. It is doing what it is doing, just echo printing it. That's it. So $1 I'm passing. While calling the function, what is this positional parameter, right? I mean, the command line arguments or positional parameters. So I need to pass while executing the script. But here I am passing this inside a function. So while calling the function, I need to pass it. Simple as that. So this function just does print this echo. If you want to do one more thing, maybe I want to create a file. Let's simply add one more command, touch $1. So it will create a file called test. Obviously test might be exist, it will throw error. Maybe something blah blah blah, some random things. So now let's see what happens. It's hello test. It created a file. See. So now this function is ready now. I mean, this function is there. You can use it anytime you want. So now you got another scenario. Maybe in future you got, I want to create a file. No need to add touch again command. This function is already there. Simply call the function, pass the position parameter. Just for $1. If you have multiple parameter 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. So now this function can be reusable. Whenever we want to create a file, we will simply use this function. No need to write separate things like that again. That's as easy as that. See. So you write a function with some code, random code, whatever you want to write, and that function you call it whenever you want. So now I don't want to call this function because I don't want to create a file now. Simply delete this line and that's it. This won't execute at all. See, nothing, because the function is there. It won't do anything now unless we call it. So whenever we need it, we call it. Otherwise, it will be like that. So now in case in future I want to do the same task, I don't need to write it again. I'll just simply use this function. I'll just simply call the function and pass my value. That's how we write it, I mean, generally. What happens is, like, let's say we want to install something and update some configuration, or let's say we want to install some 10 packages or some example saying, we'll just pass this function like this and we call the function, pass the positional parameters. It will execute like this. Alright, that's how functions are. I mean, you write a function, whatever the requirement is, you call the function whenever you need it. So now it can be reused, because as I told you, in future you want to create one file, just call the function. Now this code is not a problem anywhere. It won't cause any issues now, because it won't even run at all, because the function is not being called. That's why this is. Got it? That's why this is. Got it, right? Sorry. That's about function. Now, last topic, say called exit codes. Exit codes. What are exit codes is? There are some exit codes, like based on success or failure often, your commands, whatever your whatever you're passing here in the script. Of course, if I gave the wrong command, it will obviously fail. But we are adding exit codes, some written status to it. There are some codes like 0 means success. This command or whatever ran success, all good. Now 1 to 255 means error or failure. There is some issue. And 127 means command not found. 126 command not executable. And finally 130 script terminated. I ran the script and I did control C. It's terminated. Like that. 0 means success. That's okay, let's write it like this. So what we are doing here is we are passing some meaningful exit code to our shells in our shell scripts. Let's write execute this command. Sorry, it will obviously get success, right? So how do I know whether it's success or not? I mean, what I want to know the status of it. You simply do echo. Where is it? Dollar question mark. This will print last command status whether it is failed or not. Let's try this. For example, this ls command, obviously 0 it printed because the last command is success. I'll do some wrong command. This command is not there. It will fail 1 to 255 error. It will throw 127. Why is 127? Command not found. LLS command is not found, right? That's why it's 127. As I told you. Observe here. Why it came 127? I did not give it, but automatically shell script throws this value. 1 to 255 means some error. Command exits. Command is correct, but some error, some random error. Some random error like that. So you can pass any command, anything. See, we have seen if conditions now, or we have seen looping or something. If you want to fail something, if you want to show some exit code, you can write it. Let's write it. Maybe it's a small if condition. If same thing 50 greater than 10, remember the space, echo it is bigger, and we do exit 0 means execute this with a success code. I'll write else echo not bigger, exit 1. Here what happens? So we are else condition, we are failing with exit 1 code. It means it's failed. Let's try now what happens. Setup, obviously it is bigger. Let's keep it 5. Now it will fail with error code 1. Now we'll know, okay, where is the wrong. So not bigger. It is stopped. Here why we are using these these codes is to give a meaningful errors, to give meaningful exit codes. See, it is done. I'm writing something. I'm conditions, whatever, looping functions, and blah blah blah, all these things. But if it is fails something, something is failing or something will fail, you pass a meaningful exit code to that, so that it will be easily understandable by everyone, easily figured out by everyone. It is just a number which returns status. right? Success or a failure. That's it. That's what it is. So that's about exit codes. You pass it like the exit 1, exit 2, exit 3, um, anything, whatever number you want. 120, sorry, 1 to 255. 127 command not for it'll Linux. I mean, by default it will show you these three things. By default, Linux will give you. You don't need to do anything. You just have to use any of these two. Now I showed one command, echo dollar question mark. Sorry, dollar question mark. This will print the last command status, whatever the command before it. I think we see in ls, right? Let's say df minus h I executed. If this command is success or failure, whatever it is, this echo dollar question mark will store the status of that command. Let's say df minus h failed for some reason. We don't know. We don't know. We don't even know the failure at all. So this echo dollar question mark will print the last command status. What is the last command before this df minus h, right? It will show the status of that. Let's see. It will work, but obviously, shit, wait. It will stop here. So exit 0. Because the df minus h command is correct. If I use some wrong command, it will show this one command not found automatically. So dollar question mark is to print or to get the last command status, whether it is a success or failure. If it is a failure, you know what it does? Obviously, it will uh, sorry, it will throw error. If it is success, it will show 0. If it is failure, it will show 1. Like that. Got it? That's all about shells. Of course, as I told you, it's a programming, it's a scripting, not a programming. Sorry, it's a scripting language which we use for automation. We cannot cover within a single day, but I just told you what are the things which we use regularly. So you try with different examples, different things, so that you'll understand it clearly. Got it? With this, we'll closing the Linux. Monday we'll start DevOps. Of course, we'll start with the DevOps introduction on Monday. From Tuesday we'll start the tools and everything. So, any doubts so far? Any in this class? Forget about next class. Any doubts today? Anything? I'm telling you, keep practicing. Otherwise, it does not make sense, to listen to class every day. Got it right? Alright then. I'll upload the videos somewhere. I'm trying, but yeah, we'll see. I'll somehow share the videos to you. Alright then. Bye. Bye all. Happy weekend. Yeah.